Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. People think marriages fall apart quietly, but mine started cracking in the middle of a crowded restaurant on a Saturday night, right when everything was supposed to feel normal. The waiter had just set down our plates when my wife, Aubrey, leaned toward her friend and whispered something she didn't realize I could hear. The place was loud, dishes clinking, conversations overlapping, but her voice cut straight through all of it. "She's lucky," her friend said. "You married a steady guy." Aubrey took a slow sip of her wine, smiled in that tight way she did when she felt superior, and replied, "Steady is another word for predictable. I could walk away whenever I want and my life wouldn't change." Her friend laughed. Aubrey laughed harder, and I just stared at my steak, pretending like my chest didn't feel like it was folding in on itself. That's the moment everything shifted for me. We'd been married 6 years. I'm Caleb Turner, 35, construction estimator, blueprints, job sites, early mornings, the whole routine. Aubrey, 31, works in marketing for a luxury cosmetics brand, bright lights, events, travel, networking. We used to complement each other. She brought color to my life. I brought stability to hers. But lately, she seemed allergic to anything stable. It started subtly. She'd come home wearing perfume I didn't recognize, new earrings I'd never seen before, a different lipstick shade every weekend. And every time I asked, she'd wave it off. Brand testing, she'd say. Client dinner. Girls' night. Campaign launch. But what bothered me wasn't the excuses. It was the way she said them, carelessly, like she knew I'd never question her. And honestly, before that night in the restaurant, I probably wouldn't have. The following week, cracks widened everywhere. She stopped eating dinner with me. She stopped watching shows with me. She stopped touching me. Her hand no longer brushed mine on the couch, and her kiss at the door became a quick peck on the cheek, almost like checking a task off a list. But she wasn't distant with her phone. She guarded it like a lifeline. If I walked past her, she tilted the screen away. If her smartwatch buzzed, she pulled her wrist close to her chest. Once she stepped outside to take a work call, but her voice was too soft, too careful. One evening, she came home late, past midnight, and smelled faintly of cologne. Not mine. She breezed past me like nothing was wrong. "Long meeting. Don't wait up next time," she said, shrugging off her blazer. "Aubrey," I asked quietly, "who were you with?" She froze mid-step, turned, smiled cold, almost smug. "Work people. Caleb, don't get insecure. It's unattractive." That word, unattractive, hit harder than anything else. She went to bed. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, sensing something bitter, heavy, undeniable beginning to bloom inside me. I'm not dramatic. I'm not impulsive. I don't blow up, but I don't ignore patterns either. A few days later, while folding laundry, her phone lit up on the bed. "Can't wait to see you again. Same place tomorrow. Jay." Not a coworker, not a client, just a letter, just enough. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't unlock it. I didn't confront her. Instead, I sat down slowly, feeling the kind of calm a man feels right before making a very final decision. Aubrey came in humming, saw me holding one of her sweaters, and barely glanced at her vibrating phone. "You okay?" she asked. "I'm fine," I answered. She believed me. That told me everything. That Thursday, her supposed girls' night, I watched her get ready. Red dress, new heels, the same perfume she'd worn the night she came home late. She didn't notice me studying every detail. "You don't need to wait up," she said, grabbing her purse. "I might be late." "I know." My voice was steady, almost detached. She kissed my cheek without really touching me and left. The second the door clicked shut, I opened my laptop. I logged into our shared bank account, pulled up Uber records, checked credit card charges, examined timestamps. I wasn't guessing anymore. I was confirming. Every late night, every work event, every unexplained Uber ride to the same hotel downtown. I gathered screenshots, printed transaction logs, organized everything neatly into a manila folder. I didn't know what revenge would look like yet, but whatever it was going to be clean, quiet, and deeply satisfying. Because if Aubrey wanted a thrill so badly, I'd give her one she'd never forget. Aubrey didn't notice the shift in me at first. She was too wrapped up in her late nights, her carefully crafted excuses, and whatever fantasy she'd built with the man behind that single letter J. But small changes began to creep in. I stopped asking where she was going. I stopped waiting up. I stopped trying to fix things she clearly didn't want fixed. I became quiet, not passive, strategic. And ironically, the quieter I became, the bolder she grew. One evening, I was sitting at the dining table looking over invoices for a construction bid when she swept in wearing a fitted cream blazer and loose curls that hadn't been there that morning. Her cheeks were flushed, her eyes sparkling with a kind of energy that didn't come from a business meeting. Long day, she sighed, kicking off her heels. She poured herself a glass of wine before even acknowledging me. You should have seen the event turn out. Influencers everywhere. Amazing exposure. I nodded without looking up. Her tone sharpened instantly. Wow. Okay. No interest at all, huh? What do you want me to say? I asked calmly. I don't know. Maybe ask how it went. Pretend you care about what I do. I finally looked at her. You don't want me asking questions. You've made that clear. She blinked. Her expression faltered for a fraction of a second. Then she scoffed. You're being dramatic. But she walked away quickly. Too quickly for someone who didn't feel threatened. I noticed everything now. The unfamiliar cologne clinging to her hair on Thursdays. The way she deleted messages from her watch the moment they arrived. The sudden gym sessions at night when she'd never gone to a gym after 5 p.m. since we'd met. She thought I was blind, but I was documenting everything. By the time the second week rolled around, the folder in my desk drawer was thick with screenshots, printouts, and timelines. Nothing in it was vague. Everything had dates, times, and receipts. Still, revenge wasn't the part that kept me awake at night. It was the realization that the woman I had once adored didn't look at me anymore. She looked through me, like I was background noise she tolerated. One night, she came home past midnight again. I heard her try to tiptoe into the bedroom, thinking I was asleep, but I wasn't. I watched her silhouette slide out of her dress, carefully fold it, and take out her phone to type a message. Her fingers moved fast, her smile small but unmistakably pleased. Something cold settled in my chest. The next morning, she was unusually cheerful. She made scrambled eggs, something she never did on weekdays, and hummed while setting plates on the table. You're in a good mood, I said. She shrugged like she couldn't help it. Work's been exciting lately. Work, right. She sat across from me, brushing a stray strand of hair behind her ear. We should do something this weekend. Maybe try that new lounge downtown. I raised a brow. The one you've already been to. Her fork stopped midair. A flicker of panic crossed her eyes. Just 1 second. Then she forced a laugh. What? No. I just heard about it. Sure, I said, voice flat. She pushed her plate away. Okay, what's going on with you lately? Something's changed. Everything, I wanted to say. You changed everything. But I kept my voice steady. Just focusing on work. Well, can you stop being so quiet? It's weird. I gave her a small smile. You didn't seem to mind when my quiet made it easier for you to come home late without questions. She froze. And that's when she knew. I wasn't clueless. I wasn't fragile. I wasn't the predictable husband she thought she could walk away from whenever she got bored. But she didn't know the extent of what I knew. Not yet. Aubrey's behavior shifted subtly after that breakfast. She was more cautious, more alert. She started pretending to be enthusiastic around me again, asking about my bids, complimenting my shirts, initiating conversations she never cared about before. But she didn't stop seeing him. It only made her sneakier. Friday night, when she said she was going to team celebration, I watched her from the window as she got into a black sedan. Not an Uber, not her coworker's car. A man was driving. I couldn't see his face, but I didn't need to. My phone buzzed 10 minutes later. An alert from the synced watch. Heart rate elevated. Location, downtown Rivercrest Hotel. I stared at the screen, my jaw clenching until it hurt. That was the first moment I allowed myself to fully accept the truth. Not soften it, not excuse it, not rationalize it. She wasn't confused. She wasn't unhappy and making a mistake. She wasn't trying to find herself. She chose him, and whatever she was chasing with him, she thought she was safe from consequences. That was the night I began planning the ending, not of our marriage, but of her control over the narrative. I spent the weekend printing final pages, drafting a timeline, reviewing every shred of evidence. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to threaten. That wasn't who I was. My revenge would be calm, calculated, devastating, the kind she would never see coming. Because while she thought she was living in a story where she held all the power, she forgot one thing. I grew up building things from the ground up, and I knew exactly how to take them apart, piece by piece. By Monday morning, the atmosphere in our house felt different, thick, tense, like the air right before a storm. Aubrey tried to act normal, but she couldn't hide how jittery she was. She kept watching me like she was trying to figure out whether I knew something or everything. She didn't know it yet, but the answer was everything. I made coffee, set her mug out the way I always did, and sat at the table scrolling through my tablet, pretending to check job site reports. In reality, a small window in the corner of the screen displayed her smartwatch data, battery percentage, location, activity logs, and even patterns in her messages. She walked in wearing a soft beige sweater and light jeans, an outfit she only wore when she wanted to appear harmless, sweet, innocent. The image would have fooled anyone who didn't know her patterns the way I now did. "Morning," she said lightly. "Morning." She hesitated, then sat across from me. "You're quiet again." "I've been thinking a lot," I answered honestly. Her fingers tightened around the mug. "About what?" "You," I said, letting the words sit between us like something heavy. Her eyes widened before she quickly masked it. "Me? About what?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Silence was pressure, and she felt every inch of it. That entire week, she spiraled more and more. Wednesday, she cooked dinner, her first attempt in months. She hovered near the stove, tasting the sauce, adjusting the seasoning, glancing at me every few seconds like she needed approval. "Do you like it?" she asked, voice a bit too hopeful. "It's good," I said. Her shoulders loosened in relief. She thought she was pulling me back in, calming whatever suspicion she believed I had. But what she didn't understand was that I wasn't suspicious. I was certain, and certainty is far more dangerous. By Thursday, she was acting affectionate again, arms around my neck in the kitchen, a soft kiss on my cheek when I walked in from work. She even suggested we take a weekend trip to reconnect. I almost laughed. This wasn't affection. It was fear. Fear of losing the stability she took for granted. Fear of the possibility that I might be slipping beyond her control. Fear that her fantasy with Jay might come crashing down if I stopped being the safety net behind her reckless double life. But she didn't stop seeing him. Friday night, around 7:40 p.m., her watch pinged again. New message. Room 312 again. Can't wait. Jay. My chest tightened, not with heartbreak, but with cold clarity. She walked into the living room wearing a black dress I had seen her hide at the back of her closet months ago. A dress she'd never worn for me. She fixed her lipstick in the mirror, then turned to me with a faint smile. "I'm heading out. Don't wait up." "Have fun," I said. For the first time, she hesitated. "Are you okay with me going?" I shrugged. "You do what you want anyway." Her throat bobbed as she swallowed. "It's just a work thing." I didn't react. That scared her more than any confrontation could have. She left without another word. I waited 5 minutes. Then I grabbed the manila folder from my desk, slipped on my jacket, and walked to my truck. I didn't go to the hotel. I didn't need to. My revenge wasn't about catching her in the act. It was about making sure she could never pretend she was innocent. Not to me, not to anyone, not even herself. I drove to my attorney's office. He'd been expecting me. We'd been working quietly together for weeks, reviewing financials, preparing documents, ensuring every single detail was airtight. He handed me the finalized packet. "Everything's in order, Caleb. Clean, legal, straightforward. You'll walk away protected, and she won't be able to dispute anything." "No," he said firmly. "Not with the evidence you provided." I set the signed folder on his desk and exhaled slowly, almost feeling lighter. The next part required patience, something I had plenty of. By the time I got home, it was nearly midnight. Aubrey wasn't back yet. Her watch pinged again, location updated. She was still at the hotel. I went into the bedroom, placed the manila packet on the dresser where she'd immediately see it, and went to sleep. Morning came with a quiet, eerie stillness. Aubrey tiptoed in around 6:30 a.m., thinking she could sneak into bed before I noticed she was gone all night. I pretended to stay asleep. She slid under the covers. Her perfume, not the one she owned, lingered around her like a confession. At 7:10 a.m., she got up to shower. I stayed lying there until I heard her gasp from the bedroom. Caleb. Her voice shook. Footsteps. Drawer opening. Pages flipping. Caleb. I walked in slowly, finding her standing there holding the open folder. Photos. Receipts. Timelines. Location logs. Attorney documents. Signed papers inside. Her face went pale, fear draining the color from her cheeks. "What is this?" she whispered. "You tell me," I said, stepping closer. "You're the expert on sneaking around." She shook her head, so fast her hair scattered. "Caleb, no, you misunderstood. It's not what you think, I swear." "It's exactly what I think," I said quietly. She covered her mouth. "You've been watching me." "No," I corrected. "I stopped watching you the moment you stopped being my wife." Her entire body trembled. Her eyes darted from my face to the documents and back again. "Caleb, please, can we talk about this?" "We will," I said, "but not on your terms anymore." This was the moment everything changed. The moment she realized she hadn't just cheated. She'd underestimated the wrong man. Aubrey stood frozen, clutching the folder like it was burning her hands. She kept shaking her head, backing up until she hit the edge of the bed. "Caleb, please just listen. I made mistakes, but I didn't think you. You didn't think I'd notice," I finished, "or that I'd ever do anything about it." She swallowed hard. I was confused. Things got complicated. I didn't mean for any of it to happen. "Aubrey," I said calmly, "you made appointments, reservations, Uber rides. You planned it. Confusion isn't the word." Her chest rose and fell fast, panic tightening every movement. "Just give me a chance to explain. Please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll cut him off. Just don't do this." Her eyes darted toward the divorce papers inside the folder, the signed documents that made her confidence crumble. "I'm not doing anything," I said quietly. "I'm giving you exactly what you said you wanted." She looked at me, confused. "What are you talking about?" I held her gaze. "You said you could walk away from this marriage whenever you wanted. Turns out, I'm helping you do just that." Her breath caught. Silence stretched between us, sharp, cold, final. She gripped the bed frame. "Caleb, I was angry when I said those things. I wasn't thinking." "You were thinking clearly enough to cheat," I replied. Multiple times. Tears formed in her eyes. Real ones this time, not the dramatic ones she used to win arguments. "I don't want to lose you," she whispered. "You lost me months ago," I said. "You just didn't want to lose the life that came with me." She covered her mouth, shoulders shaking. I didn't yell. I didn't insult her. I didn't need to. The quiet truth hit her harder than anything else could have. After a long pause, she took a trembling breath. "Caleb, what do you want me to do? Tell me. I'll do anything." I walked to the dresser, picked up the signed document packet, and set it gently in her hands. "Be honest," I said, "for the first time in months. With yourself, not with me." She stared down at the papers, financial disclosures, timelines, her own signature sections waiting to be filled. She looked like she wanted to tear everything up but couldn't bring herself to move. "You planned all this?" she whispered. "I prepared for the truth," I corrected. "You provided the rest." Her knees nearly buckled. She sat on the edge of the bed, burying her face in her hands. "I didn't think you'd ever leave," she said, voice trembling. "I thought you loved me too much to ever walk away." "I did love you," I said softly, "but loving someone doesn't mean staying blind." The weight of that sentence crushed her. She let out a quiet, broken sound. Nothing dramatic, just pain she didn't know how to hide anymore. I stepped back, giving her space to absorb everything. For once, she wasn't defensive. She wasn't manipulative. She wasn't confident. She was simply defeated. That's when she said it, the line that showed she finally understood. "Caleb, I broke something I can't fix, didn't I?" I nodded once. "You did." The morning light coming through the curtains made the room feel strangely calm, like the storm was finally passing. Aubrey wiped her tears and held the folder in her lap, as if it weighed more than she could carry. "Do you hate me?" "No," I said softly. "I don't hate you, but I can't be with someone who treats loyalty like an option." She nodded slowly, her breath shallow. "I never thought I'd lose you. I thought you'd always be there." "That was the problem," I replied. I walked toward the door, pausing just long enough to give her one final chance at honesty. Aubrey, if you want to walk away, walk. If you want to sign those papers, sign them. But don't pretend you didn't choose this. Her voice cracked. I'm so sorry. I know, I said, but sorry doesn't rebuild anything. And with that, I picked up my keys, stepped into the hallway, and closed the bedroom door behind me. Quietly, calmly, completely done. Not with anger, not with revenge, just with clarity. And that was the moment she finally realized the truth. She didn't leave me. I left her first.